at one point. They set off with the body to Subhan Mala's in-law's house in Betrayal. At one point, the boat had 3 members and 1 body. At one point, the boat continued to move right up to Asman Singh's house in Shujabad. Whenever it came, it seemed as if the boat slowly sank to the shore alone. Abdul Qadir Mahdi and Sogan Mala, who was sitting in front of the boat, tried their best to steer the boat properly. He could not go alone to the shore, despite the many people. The boat came to the shore. In fact, that was the terrible place, Asman Singh's house, where the boat went alone to the shore. Abdul Qadir saw the body among them. The period was in the early 1819, when Sabela Shah Shuja built a fort in the present Shujabad to attack and suppress the Mughal pirates. Shah Shuja gave the families of those who were martyred in the war with the Mughals the property of Lakhira. Asman Singh was a famous person. The ancestors of this Asman Singh had acquired the village of Shujabad as a property of Lakhira long ago, and they ruled their territory with great power. Their ancestors were Rajput soldiers. That is, when Sabela Shah Shuja distributed the Mughal pirates, he would write down different parganas, small parganas, large villages, large areas, so that their families could live well. When others saw his sacrifice for the martyrs and these things, they would also be enthusiastic to fight against the Mughal pirates under Sabela Shah Shuja. This is a story long before 1819, but the story begins around 189. Let's come to that time in 1819. This Asman Singh met this Asman Singh with Durga, the daughter of Lokman Singh in the neighboring area. Although both of them seemed to be Muslim, both of them were Hindus. He met this Durga. After getting acquainted, they got married and 2 children were born in their house, one after another. The name of the first child was Taramani and the name of the second child was Sita. In this way, their family life continued to pass wonderfully. However, as Asman Singh's financial condition gradually deteriorated, Asman Singh decided to start a business in partnership with an English businessman he knew before. However, that English businessman rejected Asman Singh's proposal. He said, "First, I want to test you whether you will do well as my partner or not. For this, you have to do a job." Asman Singh said, "What job?" Then that English businessman said that he would appoint Asman Singh as a high-ranking employee under the English businessman. Then, if his work is good, if Asman Singh can prove himself, then he will be one of the leaders of that business. Asman Singh accepted the offer of the English businessman as a partner. At one point, Asman Singh went to the port area of the then present-day Nal City in the then Chandradwip Pargana for his work. It took a long time to cross the river and go by boat to Asman Singh's workplace from the then or present-day Shujabad to Asman Singh's workplace. So Asman Singh decided that he would temporarily live at his workplace in the Nal City port area. This continued for several more months. Some women established a small brothel in the then Nal City port area. This Asman Singh met one such prostitute, and Asman Singh fell in love with the prostitute and became careless towards his wife Jagurani and her 2 daughters in Shujabad, and did not come home for several months. Meanwhile, what happened was that when her husband Asman Singh did not come home for a long time, a Muslim businessman from the neighboring village of Amirabad, his name was Kodniwas Kha, fell in love with Asman Singh's wife, Jagurani. Love, or what about Kodniwas Kha? The incident of the illegal extramarital affair between Jagurani Roy and Kodniwas Shah, whose ancestor Shah Shuja was a soldier. Asman Singh came to know about it through a village watchman and informed Asman Singh about it through a letter. Hearing about the incident, Asman Singh's blood boiled on hearing that his wife was having an affair with a Muslim young man. Meanwhile, the fact that he was infatuated with another prostitute did not work in his head. He started to think about his wife's crime very seriously. At one point, Asman Singh returned to his own area, and after hearing the details of the incident, Asman Singh came home at night with an open sword in his face. Unfortunately, at that time, the same Nawaz, this Rai, was staying in Durga's house. At that time, Asman Singh was coming. With the help of Durga, Hodawar Shah escaped through the back door of the house through the forest. When Asman Singh broke the door of the house and entered, his wife Durgarani saw that Asman Singh was coming towards her with an open sword in his hand. Meanwhile, the baby girl Sita was lying on the bed. To save her, she lifted Sita forward so that Asman Singh could stop there with his sword. He stopped because of his love for his daughter. But Asman Singh was so angry that he hit Durgarani with that sword. He hit her so hard that the child in Durgarani's lap was cut in two by the blow of the sword. Asman Singh, seeing the child's condition, lost consciousness. At that time, various officials of the British government were appointed as judges. Most of the time, even Bengalis were appointed as judges. At that time, people came there, his wife Durgarani and the British police, with the help of that Brahmadaitya Shah, arrested Asman Singh. At one stage of the trial, the British government ordered the execution of Asman Singh. His brother, the then Judge Fatik of the Kolkata High Court, wrote a letter about the entire incident of Asman Singh and his death sentence. After hearing the entire incident, he appealed to Singh. On appeal, his death sentence was overturned. George Fatik Singh left for Shujabad, the then Nal City of Chandradip, with a letter cancelling the death sentence. At one point, he went to Nal City. When he reached the Diyar area, Nawaz Shah hatched a very dangerous plot. He stopped the crossing with the help of his Patni, who were the main people who crossed this river, and the cancelled execution order could not reach Shujabad on time. There is a lagna in the new moon of the month of Bhadra, which is very scary. At the house of Asman Singh, where the incident took place, Asman Singh was hanged from an old simul tree, and his death sentence was confirmed, and his death sentence was carried out on time. At that time, there was a rule where the incident took place, that is, where the crime was committed, he was punished there. Incidentally, it is heard that Asman Singh had a very favorite white horse, which was very good at warfare. It was Asman Singh's favorite horse. Before his death, Asman Singh wanted to hug the horse and cried a lot while hugging it. After Asman Singh's execution, mysteriously, no one found his white horse. After Asman Singh's death, people in the dead of night, I started hearing some strange sounds. The horse was running through the forest, breaking through the forest, and it was calling like a horse, and someone was saying, "Go louder, louder, louder." At one point, the incident gradually spread all around, and a terrible panic spread among the local people. People gradually relaxed their movements at night, and no one dared to go out at night. Many people tried in different ways to solve this problem, but no one could solve this problem. One day, a man named Afsaruddin Akand, an old man, was returning from a Mirabad market to his home at night towards Shujabad village. It must have been around 8:30 at night. At that time, he felt that someone was rushing through the forest and riding a horse. He did not have the opportunity to go to the side of the road. It seemed that he could not move. Asman Singh was riding a horse with an open sword in his hand. He was shocked and lost consciousness in great fear. The next day, people rescued him and took him home. Although he slowly told the whole story, he was so scared that he died because of this fear. It was a man named Kalimuddin. He was a boatman by profession. His home was in Satpakya village of Nal City. He was passing by Asman Singh's house in a boat. One night, he suddenly heard a loud noise as if a white horse of terrible size was rushing through the river and a rider sitting on it with an open sword in his hand. Seeing the terrifying scene of the horse galloping across the water on the river bank, he lost consciousness instantly on the boat. But he was lucky that there were some other people with him in the boat. They also saw it. Although he survived the last journey, he lost his ability to function forever. This continued for months, years, and centuries. The story of Asman Singh and his terrible white horse continued for months and years. Later, hundreds of incidents centered around Asman Singh's house continued. Asman Singh's wife Durgarani lost everything and became immobile. Gradually, he went completely crazy. At one point, he started living by begging. As far as is known, Asman Singh's only surviving daughter, Taramani Singh, was taken to Kolkata by his judge brother Fatehul Singh after Asman Singh's execution. It is said that there was no such brave man when Asman Singh and his horse used to travel at night and stand in front of him. Later, until 1980, there was a snake presence from Amirabad to Shujabad and School to the south of the sluice gate Beribad. Asman Singh and his horse Fear's uncle said he was a gentleman who told a Beerbai about this. His contemporary friends were very upright. They slept in their Kachari houses most of the time, probably during the month of Bhadra, when the rhythm of the music was loud and clear. Because in the month of Bhadra, the music was at its peak at night. Suddenly, there was a sudden clang. When the lion's horse ran, there was a clanging sound and the hoofs of the horse were coming with a terrible clatter. Many people have heard the sound of the lion's cry. Among them is Mohammed Firazamd Khan, son of Ayan Ali Khan, a police officer of Kanbari in Nal City. He is currently 68 years old. He is also a witness to this incident. The river behind Asman Singh's house is called the Bishkhali River. If you had to go from Barisal to Rajpur, Bandaria, Kalkali, Pirajpur, Kaula, then you would have to go only on this river route. It is said that after evening, no one could easily cross the Bishkhali River through the Shujabad channel area of Asman Singh's house. Either the boat would sink or someone would somehow fall into the river and get lost. Later, the body would float up. So far, we have heard various historical facts. Now, let us move on to the events that have happened near the present time. An incident has been narrated by some elders of Abir Bey's village, Nokulberia. Abdul Qadir Maji Mansoor Ali Mrida Abdus Subhan Mullah is notable among them. He narrated the incident from their mouths, as Abir Bey had heard it with his own ears since childhood. He narrated the terrible incident at Asman Singh's house, but Abir Bey had also heard it from his late mother's mouth. Abdus Subhan Mullah, who died 12 to 13 years ago, said that the incident took place in 1983 or 84. As he said, some of his wife's relatives, then his wife's elder brother named Abdul Manaf, whose house was in Rajpur Betrayal, suddenly fell ill with cholera. Upon hearing this news, Subhan Mullah took his wife and rented Abdul Qadir Maji's covered boat, which was called a care boat in their area at that time. He rented the boat and went to his in-law's house. At one point, around noon, he saw that Shalak's condition was very serious. Then he decided to take him to Shir-e-Bangla Medical College in Barisal. Everyone agreed. At one point, Subhan Mullah and another of his henchmen were able to take Abdul Manaf to Shir-e-Bangla Medical College in Barisal with the help of Qadir Maji's boat. However, it was evening. Shortly after taking him to the medical college, the doctor declared Abdul Manaf dead. But it was already night. But it was not late at night. It was just after evening. Then, just before the Isha prayer. The maximum is 7 o'clock. What other time is it? At this time, Abdus Subhan Mullah his other friend, was crying a lot over the death of his brother. Then Abdus Subhan Mullah said, "What's the use of crying now? Be patient. We have to take the body home." Then this Abdul Qadir Marji asked, "Is it okay to take the body now?" Abdul Subhanallah was very brave and had a strong character and was also a bad-tempered person. He said, "I will take the body now. There is no fear. Let's go in the name of Allah." At one point, they set off with the body to Subhanallah's in-law's house in Betrayal. At one point, the boat had 3 members and 1 body. At one point, the boat continued to move right up to Asman Singh's house in Shujabad. Whenever it came, it seemed as if the boat slowly sank to the shore alone. Abdul Qadir Marji and Sobhan Mullah, who was sitting in front of the boat, tried their best to steer the boat properly. He could not go alone to the shore, despite the many people. The boat came to the shore. In fact, that was the terrible place, Asman Singh's house, where the boat went alone to the shore. Abdul Qadir saw the body among them. Suddenly, the body sat up and said, "Let me down here." Then Abdul Qadir Marji screamed loudly and lost consciousness and fell into the boat. Hearing the screams from behind, Abdus Subhan Mullah looked back and saw his friend's body sitting up in the light of the full moon. He said, "Let me down here." Subhan Mullah understood what he meant. Without delay, he started hitting the body with the book in his hand. After hitting it many times, the body fell down again. As he fell, it went back to its previous state. At that time, Subhan Mullah was very scared. Although he was a very brave man, he tried to handle the situation without losing courage. At one point, Subhan Mullah threw water on the head of Brother Marty and he also regained consciousness. When they arrived the next time they set up again, Subhan Mullah said that he told his younger brother Salak that no matter what happens, you should sit with the boat and not be afraid. If anyone gets scared, none of us will survive. We will also become dead. They then started reciting as many prayers as they needed to body, and by the grace of Allah, they were able to return home safely with the body at around 1:45 a.m. Then the relatives took the body out of the boat, and everyone, including Qadir Marji and Subhan Mullah, washed their hands and faces and entered the house. The next day, Subhan Mullah said that he saw that many big, huge foxes were running next to the boat, but he did not tell anyone. Of course, others did not see it, but he saw it, and then he realized that these were not ordinary foxes. These are terrible ghosts that eat corpses. If they could have gotten on the boat once, they would have eaten them along with the corpse. So Subhan Mullah did not get scared and wanted to take strong action. Surprisingly, Qadir Marji and Subhan Mullah gradually became quite ill, but by the grace of Allah they recovered after a long treatment. The elders of the area used to say that if someone had easily brought the body through the river next to Asman Singh's house, it would have been a terrible danger if Asman had brought the body. As soon as the boat of corpses arrived in front of Singh's house, it would either sink or be pulled by some invisible force. In the evolution of time, Asman Singh is now history. But is it really history? The name of that river is Bishkhali River. Terrible incidents still happen in that river. But for many years, there were folktales. Many of us have heard that these folktales are recited to a special tune. Such folktales are recited, but Asman Singh is Durgarani. Then this Durga and his lover. Then how Asman Singh fell in love with a prostitute. Then this terrible incident. Everything has been recited in the form of folktales for many years in different areas. Only the one that was recited in the Betrayal area is not like this. The story of Asman Singh is also in the folktale literature of Bangladesh. Asman Singh's house is not like this. There are no houses around this house like this. People are still afraid sometimes. Even now, Asman Singh is seen. I see Asman Singh, a huge man. riding a white horse with a horse sword in his hand, running around and telling the horse to run. Run, my dear horse, run faster and faster. Saying this out loud, Asman Singh ran away. What happened to Asman Singh's daughter, who was raised by his uncle, is not known later. Another daughter of Asman Singh was killed by Asman Singh. What happened to the extramarital lover of Asman Singh's wife Dogarani is not known. How did they stop the boat traffic and cause this incident? Asman Singh died. Another thing is that when Asman Singh died, it was the new moon day of the month of Bhadra. Many people say, especially those who are tantric poets, they say that if someone dies accidentally or dies an unnatural death or dies by hanging or someone is killed on this new moon day of the month of Bhadra at that time, if there is a demon of the demon class there, he becomes terribly powerful. He becomes a Brahma demon. It is said that if someone becomes a Brahma demon in this way, it is very difficult to destroy him. He becomes very powerful, and he becomes a corpse-eating demon, and he can never be subdued. Whoever sees him will suffer great harm. It is not known what actually happened to Asman Singh's horse. No one has ever seen that horse alive, but since Asman Singh's death, such incidents have been happening. Many people say that at that time, a ghost was there near the tree. Maybe it has become so powerful that it is roaming around as Asman Singh. That story is still happening today. Dear listeners, Inamal Hay Kabir Bhai knows people who are experts in various types of Tantra. He talked to them about this. If someone dies accidentally, in the next video.
And that was today's story. If you felt the words, don't forget to share your thoughts below. Subscribe to English Story Konthabunam.